Hello, everyone. Welcome to an all new episode of Future Proof. I am your host, Courtney McKenzie Newell, CEO of Crowns Marketing and Communications, number one bestselling author of Future Proof, the blueprint for building a brand Gen Z and Millennials love, and also the founder of the Future Proof Academy, where we help entrepreneurs and executives increase their impact, income, and influence. So, today we're going to be talking about something that consistently comes up, and I really want to make sure that today we get to the bottom of what it means to crush it. All right. Now, you've heard the book, you've probably seen the book. Gary Vee wrote a book about crushing it. And, for a while, it was almost like a lifestyle. People were like, "Oh, how you doing? I'm crushing it." And I thought that was just so clever. But I really want to talk to you all today about three secrets to crushing it. Three secrets to crushing it. I've been in my business for almost a decade now. I cannot believe I'm saying that out loud, because when I started my business, Crowns Marketing and Communications, almost a decade ago, I was petrified. I was afraid that I would fail. I was nervous about how I would get clients. I was nervous about, should I take a job, or should I try to keep finding a job, or is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? And I'll tell you, in year two, I had those same questions. In year five, like these things, they continue to come up occasionally, especially when you're in a place in your business where things may not necessarily be going as planned. Life throws some curveballs, lemons are thrown your way, and you're like, do I decide to be bitter, or do I decide to make some lemonade? And that's just the reality of running a business. I think that a lot of times we focus on, the freedom that business owners have, but there's a lot of burden as well that comes with running a business sometimes. And so I really want to talk today about three ways that you can crush it. I don't care what field you're in. I don't care what space you're in. These are tried and true three secrets to crushing it. Doesn't matter what industry. If you are saying to yourself, I am tired of feeling like I'm not crushing it. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So number one, and they're my three C's to crushing it. So number one is clarity. Clarity is so important, okay? Because an unclear mind lacks focus. And without focus, there's chaos. Okay? And with chaos, there's no peace. And so if you are kind of all over the place, you lack clarity, you're lacking that focus, then what happens? One day you're thinking about doing this, the next day you're thinking about doing that. You stretch yourself so thin. And we only, as human beings, have so much energy, right? And if you are trying to focus your attention and your energy on 10 different things or 100 different things, then of course it's going to be stressful. Of course it's going to cause burnout. That's just natural. That's just what happens. So I want you to get really, really crystal clear on who it is you are and what it is that you want to do. I want you to operate at your highest level. And the way that you do that is by tapping into what I like to call your brilliance zone. And your brilliance zone, remember in high school, or maybe it was even before that, we used to have these three circles. And I'm actually going to draw an example of it. Okay. There's like these three circles, and don't you dare talk about my handwriting. It's like this, right? This right here, oops, where's my finger? This right here is what I call the brilliance zone. Okay. This right here. Oh, goodness. I don't know where I'm at right now. Okay. This right here is the brilliance zone. And the brilliance zone is so important because that's truly where your personal story, your professional acumen, and your passion collide. All right. That's where you are going to have the most impact, because it's like what you were born to do. It's where you operate at your highest level, is when those three intersect. And when you operate in what I call the brilliance zone, and you think about what is in that brilliance zone, that is the first step of getting that clarity that you need. Because clarity is all around just having that focus and finding that peace in what it is that you want to do and how you want to serve. right? And so when you have that clarity, that's the first step to crushing it. Imagine how different life would be if you were like, this is my focus, this is my brilliance zone, this is what I'm here to do, right? Like imagine what that would mean for your life as far as clarity. You would automatically know if something else comes up, you have that shiny syndrome object or shiny object syndrome, where something else comes around and you're like, oh man, like that looks like that would be a lot of fun. Maybe I should start a business around that. Nope, not in my brilliant zone. I'm focused, right? It's almost like you put on a shield that protects you from anything that can affect you operating at your highest self. So I want you to tap into that brilliant zone and really get that clarity that you need. And that's number one to crushing it. All right. Number two is confidence. And confidence, of course, you all know confidence is so important. And a lot of people say, well, where does confidence come from? Do you just wake up with it? Are you born with it? And I'm like, no one's just born with an infinite amount of confidence, right? The reason why people are confident is because they are, again, operating in that brilliance zone. And when you're operating in that brilliant zone, you truly are like, this is my space. All right. Like, I don't care. I don't know a lot about this. I don't know a lot about that, but this is my brilliant zone. I can tell you there's some things I don't know a lot about. I cannot keep a plant alive to save my life. Okay. I'm like, we're trying to get into, like, we have this little herb garden that we just planted. My husband just planted it. And I'm like, it's tough for me because I'm just thinking about a million other things. I forget to water the plant. Like, thank God for my husband and him making sure that, that plant gets the nourishment that it needs. And so I know nothing about that. And I'm completely okay with that. I know nothing about tools. The other day, my father-in-law asked me to get a wrench, and I brought what I thought was a wrench, but it wasn't a wrench. It was something else. And I'm like, I don't know about tools. That's not my brilliant zone. And if you ask me about marketing, if you ask me about branding, if you ask me how to monetize your message, about PR, about graphic design and branding, I can make you, I can do that. Okay. That is my brilliant zone. And that's where I operate. I stay in my lane. And when I need assistance or guidance in something that's outside of my lane, guess what? I tap on people who that's their lane. If it's coming to someone and talking about technology and developing something, I'm going to tap on them. If it's IT, I'm going to tap on my IT manager. Why? Because I know that when people are operating in their brilliant zone, they have the confidence that they need. They know that they are the go-to person in that space, and it's like this just different air that comes up when you feel like you are operating in that brilliance zone. And when you do that, you get that confidence. You immediately get the confidence when you are doing something that is in your brilliance zone. But I will tell you, when you are starting something new, and let's say it's something new within your brilliance zone, and it's a new piece of your brilliance zone, right? And you're saying, okay, well, I know that I love health and wellness. I love helping new moms be able to get back on track with their health and wellness. Okay, this is just an example. But I want to start a new course, or I want to start a podcast around it. That particular thing may be outside of your brilliant zone, because your brilliant zone, you know exactly what the overall theme of your brilliant zone is, but you may not know the specifics. You may not know how to start the podcast, or start the blog, or the YouTube channel. And that may be where a lot of times people feel uncomfortable and lack that confidence that they need. And a lot of times people sink into this imposter syndrome. And I will tell you that imposter syndrome sneaks up when you are about to dream bigger, when you're about to go bigger. It always sneaks up, and it's like, can you do this? Do you have what it takes? Are you are you good enough? Are you smart enough? All these different things. And I always like to say, and Marshawn Evans actually says this about big me and little me. And little me is the person who is like down talking you, and they're saying, oh, you can't do it. So and so tried and they failed. You tried it before, but it didn't work then. What makes you think that it'll work now? Versus big me that is like, no, You have to do this. Imagine what life would be like if you did do this. Imagine how much regret you'll have if you don't do this now, right? And so you have to tap into your big me and say, "Hey, little me, I don't need you right now. I know you're trying to protect me, but I'm listening to big me, right?" And I like to say the little me is really your protector. It's the person who's trying to protect you from hurt and harm and and uh and just being criticized possibly. But you really have to talk to that person and tap into that part of you, the protector side, and say, "Hey, I don't need you right now. Thank you. I need you occasion. I need you sometimes, but right now is not when I where I need you. It's safe. Okay. I'm gonna go for this thing and I'm gonna stretch. And when you stretch and you actually push yourself to do that thing that you're afraid of, that's where you start that momentum. And that momentum is going to be the thing that really pushes you to be able to really live your best, be your best self and live your best life. And I will say, you know, that saying, practice makes perfect. And I think that there's truth to that for sure. But I would say practice makes permanent. Okay. And once you master a skill, you can add that to your tool belt, right? When I started my podcast, Entrepreneur 2.0, which is now the Future Proof podcast back in 2012, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I'm just going to believe in myself and I'm going to figure it out on the way. But I became confident in my ability to do that because I started to read books on it. I started to interview people on it and ask the questions and get on forums and just really get really clear on what I needed to know in order to fill those gaps that I didn't know, you know, those learning gaps or those things that I knew I needed to know in order to get to the next level. So I challenge you to do that as well. Take the time to figure out what it is that you need to know to get to where you need to be. And this is not saying go and spend tons of money or spend tons of time, because you can end up having that paralysis by analysis. And I don't want you to do that. What I'm challenging you to do is to really invest some time, invest some energy to find those resources, read the books, maybe read the blogs, listen to a few podcast episodes, or watch a few YouTube lessons or channels around what it is that you feel like you need in order to be fully equipped in that new position or that new thing that you're trying to bring to the world. All right. Birthing something new it's not easy. It's not simple, but you have to believe it before anyone else does. You have to say, I'm choosing, I've decided, and this is what I'm going to do. I know that on the other side of this fear, on the other side of this uncertainty, is going to be the breakthrough that I need and the one that I've been wanting. Okay. So that's number 2. That's my second C. And 3 is consistency. Consistency. And I will tell you, if you have that clarity and you have the confidence, but you're not consistent, you won't crush it. You will not crush it. You'll stop just short of crushing it. You may get some good results, but if you're not consistent, if you're not putting that gas in the engine and topping it off all the time, then you're not going to really see the true results that you want. So I'm telling you that if you are trying to crush it, if you're trying to make sure that you're number one, if you want to make sure that you're that go-to person, that you make your mark, that your legacy stands the test of time long before you're here, then you have to have that consistency, that repetition. The great thing about consistency is every time that you do something, every time that you continue to put it out there and develop it and nurture it and work on it, you are getting stronger, you are getting better, right? And like one of the things that I really wanted to do is I really wanted to lift a certain amount of weight. And I was like, I really want to get to the point where I can lift a certain amount of weight. Okay. And I will tell you, I started really small. I started with the 5 pounds. Okay. Then I did that for about a week and I'm like, okay, getting stronger, 10 pounds. All right. Doing these curls, 20 pounds or 15 pounds, 20 pounds. Right. And so now I'm building that muscle. I'm building that muscle and I'm consistently putting in the work to be able to get to my goal. You have to be thinking about how you're going to do that and how you're going to show up and how you're going to be consistent, so that you can make sure that you are feeding that dream that you have, that desire that you have. It's not just going to, it's like growing a baby, you have to, it starts really, really, really tiny. And then by the ninth month, it's a whole baby with teeth and beautiful hair and eyes and little baby toes, and it's just miraculous, right? And the same goes with you being consistent and with your dreams. A baby's not made overnight, just like is not, doesn't have teeth and all that stuff overnight. That doesn't happen. It takes 9 months or really 10 months, right, for that development to happen. And the same holds true for your dream, whatever it may be. So I'm just challenging you and encouraging you to have that consistency. It's always going to be hard in the beginning. It's always going to be challenging. But if you have that clarity and you have that confidence that this is what you're supposed to be doing and you are the person to do it, then you have to push through and be consistent, even when you're not seeing the results you want to see, even when nobody's cheering you on and nobody's watching and, things go crazy and haywire. You have to consistently put in that effort and put in that work if you really want to crush it. All right. So those are my 3 C's to crushing it, my 3 secrets. And I just want to know, which of these 3 C's are you going to commit to this week? All right. Comment, make sure that you let me know. And I just can't wait to hear how you're going to make sure that you crush it, not just in the rest of 2020, but in every year beyond. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Future Proof TV. I will see you on the next episode.